Something has been happening around you lately, and I want to name it before you talk yourself out of it. People are being revealed, one by one. The relative whose kindness you always half doubted finally showed the coldness underneath, in front of everyone, where it could not be unseen. The friend of many years slipped, once, and in that slip you saw a whole hidden architecture, and you cannot stop seeing it now. The charming one, the one everybody defended, has begun collecting doubters, one incident at a time. And you have been watching this quiet parade of unmaskings, in your family, in your circle, in the wider world too, and some part of you has wondered, is it me? Am I becoming cynical in my old age, seeing bad where I used to see good? And another, deeper part of you has wondered the opposite. Is something happening? Is there a season when the hidden things come out of hiding? Tonight I am going to answer from the old understanding, and the answer is yes. There is such a season, and my people knew it well and never feared it, and you have entered it. But hear me carefully, because the reason is not what the frightened voices will tell you. The evil around you is not growing, it is surfacing. Those are different things, as different as a flood rising and a pond draining, and by the end of tonight you will understand why it surfaces now, in this season of your life especially, and what a wise elder does while the masks are falling. Because the falling is not the frightening part, my friend. The falling is the mercy. The frightening part was all the years the masks held. Let me begin with the law underneath all of it, because my people held this as firmly as they held any law of the seasons. Nothing hidden stays hidden, nothing. My grandmother said it with the winter and the snow. She said, look at the field in January, grandson, smooth, white, perfect. Every field looks the same under snow, the tended field and the neglected one, the clean ground and the ground where something was buried. Snow is the great liar of the seasons, she said. It makes everything appear equal, appear pure, appear finished. But snow has one weakness. It cannot last. No snow has ever lasted. And when the thaw comes, and it always comes, the field tells the truth about itself. Everything that was buried shallow rises into view. Everything neglected shows its neglect. The field was never what the snow said. The field was always what the thaw reveals. And people, she said, are fields. A person's charm, their performance, their careful reputation, all of it is snow. Beautiful, smooth and temporary. And time, grandson, time is the thaw, nothing more mysterious than that. Time is simply the thaw, and it comes for every field. And the longer a life runs, the more thaws it contains, which is why the old see so much more truth than the young. Not because we are wiser, though we are. Because we have simply been standing at the field long enough to watch the snow fail. You have been standing at your fields for 60, 70 years. The thaws are arriving on schedule. What you are watching around you is not a strange, new darkness. It is the oldest event in the world. Spring doing what spring does to ground that was never what it claimed. And I watched the greatest thaw of my grandmother's lifetime with my own eyes. So let me give it to you, because you have a version of this man in your own history. Everyone does. There was a man in the wider community, in her later years, who was, by every visible measure, the finest man in 3 settlements. Generous in public, first at every good work, spoken well of by everyone who mattered. And my grandmother did not trust him, and would not say why, and for years, hear me, years, her coolness toward this beloved man was held against her. Even in our own family. She has gotten suspicious in her age, they said. She judges a good man over nothing, and she never argued. That is the part I want you to see. She never once argued her case, never campaigned, never whispered. When his name was praised at her table, she would say only, and pour the tea, and let the praise go by like weather. I asked her once privately why she would not say what she saw, and she told me, "Grandson, I have no proof, only eyes, and eyes cannot be handed to other people. And besides," she said, "and this is the sentence tonight is built on, I do not need to expose him. A man like that is a field with a bad burial in it. The thaw will do the work. The thaw always does the work. My job is only to keep my family off his ground before spring." And so she did, quietly, steering us in her small ways, declining what he offered, absorbing years of being thought unkind. And the thaw came. I will not give the details, they are not mine to spread, but it came as she knew it would, whole and undeniable and public, and everything she had never said was suddenly the only thing anyone could see. And here is what she did on the day the community reeled with it. Nothing. She poured the tea. She never said "I told you so," not once, not to anyone, not even to me. She had been right for 15 years, and she spent the day of her vindication comforting the people who had doubted her. That is how an elder stands in the season of exposure. Remember her, because before tonight is over, I am going to ask you to stand the same way. And notice one more thing in her story before we move on, because it answers a pain some of you are carrying right now. Some of you are in her 15 years. You see something in someone that nobody else sees, and you have been dismissed for it, called suspicious, called difficult, called changed. Hear what she knew. You do not have to win that argument. You were never required to win it. Your only assignments are the two she took. Keep your own people off the bad ground, quietly, and wait for spring. The vindication is not your work. It is the thaw's work, and the thaw has never once missed an appointment. Before I share the next teaching, I need to tell you something. I am not going to be here forever, and most of what I know was never written anywhere. So I sat down and I wrote it. All of it. 20 teachings, 4 parts, in the order they were meant to be received. The ones about the thaw and how to stand steady in it. The ones about what to do when the hidden things around you surface. The ones I have never said on camera. It is called the native way, and it costs less than one dinner you will not remember. Scan the code on your screen or look in the comments, but do not leave yet. Because now I am going to tell you why the exposures are speeding up around you, why they come one by one, and why this season of your life is the great unmasking season. And this next part is the heart of tonight. So why now? Why does it feel like the exposures have accelerated, like the masks around you are falling faster in these years than in all the decades before? There are 3 reasons, and each one is good news, though not one of them feels like it at first. The first reason is the simplest. Deception is expensive, and the deceivers around you are running out of funds. Understand what a mask costs. A person performing goodness they do not have is doing the hardest labor there is. Every conversation managed, every reaction calculated, every inconsistency remembered and guarded. The genuine person spends nothing to be themselves, but the false one pays for every hour of the performance, and the pretending, hear this, ages worse than the body. In youth, the deceiver has energy to burn, the performance is tight, the mask fits well. But the decades collect their rent. The discipline frays. The exhaustion of a lifetime of management sets in, and the mask begins to slip at the edges, small slips first, the flash of contempt before the recovery, the cruelty that escapes when they are tired, the story that no longer matches the story they told in 1989. You are not imagining that the difficult people of your life are showing themselves more nakedly now than ever. They are, not because they changed, because they are tired. The performance that held for 40 years cannot be maintained by a 70-year-old performer. The snow is thinning because the one who must haul fresh snow every night is running out of strength. Old age, my grandmother said, is the most honest season of every life, willingly or not. Everyone becomes more themselves at the end. The kind become kinder. Watch it. It is one of the sweetest sights on earth. And the cruel, at last, become visibly what they always were. The thaw is not doing something to them. It is finally merely showing them. And this is why, by the way, the old people always said, if you want to know who a person truly is, do not study them in their strength. Wait for their tiredness. Watch them sick. Watch them frightened. Watch them old. Weariness is truth serum. The tired have no budget left for performance, and whatever appears in a person's exhaustion is what was living under the snow all along. You have seen it at bedsides and in hard seasons. Some people go down into their weariness and come up sweeter, gentler, more grateful, because sweetness was the ground under their snow. And some come up sharp and cold and grasping, and the family whispers, illness has changed him. Illness changed nothing, my friend. Illness spent the last of the performance budget. The change everyone is seeing is not a change. It is an arrival. The field at last, without the snow. The second reason is about you, and it is the one nobody tells you. Your eyes have changed. Some of what you are calling exposure is not the mask falling, it is your sight sharpening. Think of everything these years have given you. You have learned through your own long story, every teaching I have given on this channel and 100 I have not, the way flattery feels the week before a request, the way charm behaves around the powerless, the way certain kindness always arrives just before the harvest. You could not see these patterns at 40. You were inside the storm of your own life, busy, hopeful, needing things from people. And need, hear this, need is the great blindfold. A person who needs approval cannot afford to see who is withholding it strategically. A person who fears loneliness cannot afford to see which companions are feeding on them. But you, in this season, need so much less. The career is done, the approval race is over, the reputation is settled, the fears have burned down. And as the needing fell away, the blindfold fell with it. You are not becoming cynical, my friend. I want to free you of that worry tonight. Cynicism is seeing darkness that is not there. What is happening to you is the opposite. You are finally seeing what was always there, because for the first time in your life, you can afford to. The elders of my people were the ones sent to judge disputes and red strangers, not because age granted magic, but because age had freed their eyes. Nothing left to gain makes an incorruptible witness. You have become the incorruptible witness. The exposures feel constant now because your eyes at last are open all the way. That is not a burden. That is a promotion. And I know the grief that comes with the promotion, so let me sit with you in it for a moment before we go on. Because seeing clearly costs something. Some of you, as the blindfold fell these last years, saw things in people you had loved for decades, and the seeing broke your heart. You did not just lose an illusion. You lost the version of your own life that had the illusion in it, the marriage as you had told it to yourself, the friendship as you had believed it, the family story with everyone playing their assigned goodness. And you have wondered, in the low hours, whether the blindfold was kinder, whether you would trade the clear eyes back for the warm fog. I will answer you the way my grandmother answered me. She said, "A person can be warm in a burning house, grandson. The fog was never kindness. The fog was danger with a pleasant temperature. Every year you spent not seeing was a year your goods were unguarded, your heart was unguarded, your people were on ground you had not tested. The clear eyes ache, yes, all true sight aches at first, the way eyes ache coming out of a dark room. But the ache is the price of finally living in the actual world, among the actual people, guarding the actual treasures. Pay it gladly. The ones who chose the fog are still in the burning house commenting on how warm it is. And the third reason is the deep one, the one the old people held sacred, so hear it in the spirit they held it. The exposures come one by one, on their own strange schedule, because the truth ripens, and ripening cannot be rushed and cannot be stopped. You have noticed, surely you have noticed, that the revelations in your life did not come when you wanted them. You suspected certain people for years, decades, and could prove nothing, and nobody believed you, and then in some ordinary month, long after you had stopped hoping for it, the truth simply fell, like fruit, whole and undeniable, into open view. My people said, "The Creator's justice is not a hammer, it is a harvest. It does not strike, it grows. Every hidden act, every secret cruelty, every long deception is a seed the doer plants in their own field, and seeds, hear me, seeds cannot be talked out of growing. They wait through winters. They wait through years of smooth snow, and they grow at their own pace toward their own season, and no cleverness, no charm, no reputation has ever once stopped a planted seed from breaking ground on the day of its ripeness. That is why the exposures come one by one, in that strange, irregular drum beat you have been noticing. It is not chaos. It is a harvest coming in, field by field, each seed on its own calendar. And it is why the old people could stand next to unpunished wrong with a patience the young mistook for weakness. It was not weakness. It was botany. They knew what was planted. They knew what planted things do. And they knew that the hardest years are the years of smooth snow, when the wicked look permanent and the truth looks defeated, and they taught their children the sentence I now teach you. The snow is not the field. Wait for the thaw. You are living in the thaw now. What you are watching, this parade of unmaskings that made you wonder if the world was getting darker, is the opposite of darkness. It is every old seed coming due at once. It is the harvest you stopped believing in, arriving. So what does a wise elder do in the season of exposure? 3 things, and then I will let you go. First, do not gloat. I say this with love, and I say it firmly. When the mask falls off the one who wronged you, the one nobody believed you about, the temptation will rise in your chest, sweet as sugar, to say I told you so, to stand over the exposure, to feast on it. Do not. Not because they deserve gentleness, but because gloating plants seeds in your field, and you have kept your field clean too long to salt it now. Let the harvest be the harvest. It does not need your commentary. Nod once privately to your own eyes for having seen it first, and walk on. Second, be the steady one. Every unmasking shakes the people around it. Families reel, circles fracture. The ones who believed the mask feel foolish and lost, and they will look in the wreckage for someone who is not shaken, and that someone is you, because you were never fooled, or not for long, and steadiness in the season of exposure is the elder's oldest job. You are the one who says at the shaken table, I know. It is hard to see. But we are going to be all right, and truth, even ugly truth, is better ground to stand on than a beautiful lie. Say that. They will remember it forever. And third, and most important, check your own field. Hear me now, because a teaching about the exposure of others that does not end here is a flattery, not a teaching. The thaw comes for every field, every one, including yours, including mine. Most of what is buried in your field is ordinary, the small vanities, the old half-truths, the human things, and the thaw will treat them kindly. But if there is something in your ground that you would dread the spring finding, some falseness you have maintained, some wrong unrighted, some truth owed to someone and long withheld, do not wait for the thaw to expose it. Dig it up yourself. Confess it, write it, release it, on your own schedule, with your own hands, while the choosing is still yours. Because everything I taught tonight is true. Nothing hidden stays hidden. And the only question any of us gets to answer is whether the truth of our field comes out by our own hand, gently, or by the thaw's hand, on the thaw's day. Choose your own hand. And then stand in this strange season the way the old ones stood, unafraid, unsurprised and quietly grateful, watching the snow fail everywhere, knowing it was never going to do anything else. If what you heard today stayed with you, the book is there. The Native Way, 20 teachings, 100 pages, written the way I would speak to you if we were sitting together. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone or find the link in the comments. Read one chapter. Sit with it. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, who has been exposed in your life recently, and had you seen it coming long before anyone believed you? I read every comment. And if this is the kind of conversation you have been looking for, subscribe to this channel. We are not collecting viewers here. We are collecting people who remember. Come back next week. I am not done teaching yet.